and we'll count it down.
I tell you what, if I keep looking at the news, I'm gonna be enraged.
Okay, you too. Good evening. Welcome again to another episode of whatever you want to. Let's talk with Dr. J. And tonight we're going to have a very good time tonight because we're talking about something that everybody has experienced in your life, and that is rage. And tonight I'm so happy because I have somebody very good looking sitting beside me. His dad think he looks better than he does, but he doesn't. And I want you to know that I have none other than Pastor D, Pastor Darrell Stimson, here with me this evening. How you doing, Pastor?
I'm doing all right, Dr. Campbell. I'm doing well. I feel honored to be invited to this special show and to sit next to this special lady. And you got it right. I am the most handsome Stimson there is. And I'm not taking it back. I said what I said.
We're hoping that is true. We are hoping very much so that we have a good conversation tonight. Absolutely. Because we're talking about something that, like you said, if I keep on watching the news, I'm gonna have
Lord help us. Lord help us.
We're gonna talk about something everybody knows tonight, you all. We're gonna talk about rage. Yeah. We don't like to consider rage or anything like that. And you know what? After me going back over it again, I used to teach when I was in the school system, but in workshops. But when I went back over to see what the updates were, I learned something else about it, and I'm just so surprised because they didn't used to put tantrums in rage. But I remember. Do you remember tantrum?
I do. I deal with temper tantrums in school, even with high. Is that normal? I said that's just a manifestation of rage.
Yes, it is.
Been upset and not being able to vocalize, communicate their feelings, and so they. But yeah, tantrums is something serious.
But you know, isn't it strange now that we have something to take care of everything now? When we were growing up, have a temper tantrum if you want to. You know, go ahead on and have one. Yeah. I remember my brother, Bishop Reginald. I'm going to text him in a few minutes and see if he'd chime in. Bishop Reginald didn't stay with us for the first time because my mom was sick. So my grandmother took Reginald, and she kept him for, a year or so, whatever. She could have brought him back much earlier, but she didn't. But anyway, when he got home, he would have temper tantrums. He'd just fall out and kick and scream and go crazy. And one day my mama said, you know what? None of my children do this, and you not either. She sat down on the floor right beside him and beat him till he got up.
She beat the tantrum out of it.
Now, she would go to jail today. Today was her day for jail. Yeah. You know, Reginald might want to chime in and call on her now.
Now that statute of limitations over.
Yes. Take that off of children.
Absolutely.
You see little bitty kids, 1 and 2 years old. So one Sunday in church, Mama said, sit down, put his lip out. I was tripping because I really wanted to run over there and get him for her because she didn't know what to do. Yeah. I wanted to help her. But it's temper tantrum. But I know that rage is a big form of anger.
Yes. Even you know, a lot of people fail to realize that anger is a sin. See?
Wait a minute, Pastor. I I heard the Bible say anger and sin not. What about that?
Yeah.
It did say
You
that.
can be angry, but sin not.
But
That's
sin
what I
not.
meant to. That's what I meant to say.
How you gonna do that?
So I misquoted that.
Okay.
A lot of people, they allow that anger to be a vehicle to operate in rage.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't thinking. No, you have to really consciously think about, certain things. I mean, think about it. There are certain things that make you angry.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can think about something and get angry altogether.
Just like it just happened.
Yeah, just like it happened. But you got to make that choice not to get angry, not to let it take you there. I was in a conversation with some friends yesterday, and they was talking about one of the topics we talked about was church hurt, and they was talking about, I can't believe this, that. I said, but that church happened over 20 some years. At some point, you got to move on, but you choose every time you see that person to become enraged, be mad, and relive the whole situation over. And a lot of times we become prisoners of that emotion.
Yes, we do. We do.
And that rage will cause you to just be sick, can't even
stress out, all kinds of things. I remember I read in something, I don't know when it was. I think it was about 4 or 5 years ago when our president today was running office the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things they said about him was that his father, of course, naturally, throwing off on him, his father gave him so much money. I don't care nothing about that because that was his father. He should have given him something. Okay, so what?
Yeah.
You would have wanted to have it too.
Right.
But it was something in that stole my attention this time, and that was that he was very disruptive as a child, and he wouldn't act right in school. He wouldn't do anything. Mm-hmm. And it said that his father sent him off to if I'm not mistaken, he sent him off to a private school.
Mm-hmm.
And he went to this private.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody, if you know of this story, please chime in and make sure we on target with this.
Mm-hmm.
That he went to the school and he came back, whatever. His father taught him the behavior of never saying I'm sorry, never feeling bad for what you've done to anybody, and that was a form of rage.
Can deal with rage.
Yes, they do.
Deal with anger and stuff like that. My youngest son, DJ, is Asperger's. He has the same thing Elon Musk. Yeah. God bless his soul. But when he was younger, he had them temper tantrums and all that stuff. They'd be like, "Yo, no." I was like, "No, come here, boy." I grab him by that shirt. You lost your mind. You better get, because we've all dealt with that. Even growing up, we had family members or friends who they try to medicate by giving them Ritalin. No, give them some Ritalin. They'll calm down. But if you don't ever check it and attack it, like address it, that person will go on. They live in there, they be grown, having temper tantrums, just like the person we got in office right now. All the stuff he's doing.
Those are temper tantrums.
Temper tantrums. He trying to get back at
people. Angry
for
what they did. what he feels that they did. It made him angry.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what are we gonna do? You know, even in the school system now, the over in the black school, they there with you.
Facts.
Yeah, facts.
Facts.
They didn't have all that.
Had that paddle.
They had the paddle. And that was it for your temper tantrum.
Facts.
Hey, I got something for you. Come on over here.
That's facts.
But now you can't do that this day, and therefore there's anger. When do we notice that we need to do something else beside with a child that's small, that's having a temper? And how did they have them?
Yeah. Yeah. That's the question right there, because how do they know to throw a tantrum
Yeah.
at a young age? But I think it goes to the point to where, as you have to identify that same, you have to really sit back and identify, and you have to, inspect your child and their behaviors and how they're acting. We recognized when DJ was young, he always wanted to be in front of electronics. You take it away from him, he starts spazzing out and stuff like that. And so my oldest kids would just give it to him to stop him crying. Like, no, don't give it to him, because he's becoming dependent on that. And it's teaching him, if I act this way, I get what I want. Yeah. And so I think a lot of people, and plus, this new age we in, they got a diagnosis for everything. They got a pill for everything. And so it's like they don't want to address. They want to provide something for the symptoms, but they don't want to provide a cure.
No, they don't want a cure.
Yeah.
They were saying, when you're talking about race resentment, they were saying that resentment is an angry feeling caused by being forced to accept one or something that you do not want to accept. And therefore, and that is something I saw other Sunday church. I kind of just noticed every now and then that the baby didn't want to sit down. The father said, sit down. And the baby immediately sit down and was fine. And then when he looked off and the baby started acting, the mother said, sit down. She didn't do it. And I said, oh. So she understood the meaning of sitting down, but she didn't want to mind the mother.
Right.
And so she didn't do it because the mother, would you sit down, please? I never heard of such. Would you please come here, please? Would you do this, please? May I get you to do this, please? What kind of mess is that?
That's that new parenting. That's that new age parent. They're partnering. Listen, I need you to work with me, little Johnny. Work with me.
Work with me.
You work with me, I'll work with you. It's incentive-based parenting, and I'm not from that.
I guess era. We can't. We were born too early because we didn't get in on that one. Anybody want to chime in and talk with us about race today?
I'm looking on the comments. We don't have any questions. We just have some comments saying so true. And then you have Drum King KD saying, hey, Pastor Carlton Stimson. And we have Demetrius Connor who's watching. We have some views as well.
Oh, that's Sister D. Sister D ought to be able to really talk about it because she is a school teacher, and she came up. I think she was born late in her day because her mode of discipline is way back there with my mama now.
Wow.
And she still has that strong arm of, you're going to do what you have to do and do this and that.
Absolutely.
And normally you don't get to see those kind of teachers anymore.
Absolutely.
Because they're not into that. Sister D, you can chime in when you get ready. That I saw her the way she disciplined her own son. And we would really get upset with her sometimes because she was so hard to us. Only she has one of the most wonderful sons there. He's very malleable. He loves his mother. He's not in trouble or anything like that. But during that time we came up, the father had that stronghold. But now, the fathers are not always there.
That's true. That is true. And part of that is one of the breakdowns in parenting is because you have absent parents, whether the father's absent or the mother's absent. I believe that parenting and friends is two different things. Like, if God bless you to have children, he intended for you to be their parents, not their friend.
How do you differentiate the friend from the parent?
I'm not friend, period.
I don't feel like I'm friends.
I'm not friend, period. Like my son is about to be 26. And to this day, he say, yeah, that's my daddy, but he's not my friend. Because I think that's where you mess up at is when you try to be their friends, you lose the authority and the power of parent. Because our job as parents is to provide you with wise counsel.
Right.
And
it's hard to have a wise counsel and you're going out partying with them.
Absolutely.
You being with them everywhere they go.
Absolutely.
I won't even let my sons be on my face page. No. No, you're not my friend.
Absolutely.
And I don't let his friends. I don't, if they ask me to be a friend, no.
Absolutely.
I'm not going to be your friend.
Absolutely.
You're too young to be on my page. I don't want to be on your page. I don't want to go read what you have to say. I don't care what you're saying. That's what you're saying to yourself. But this rage thing, we're going to have to come into grips with, because that's the reason probably we're having all of these people just getting out their gun and just shooting when they get good and ready. That's a rage.
That's a rage. Did you see the news where they had a pedestrian was just shooting at cars with open gun, shooting at cars?
Was this lately?
This was like today. I shared it. I shared it on my Facebook page.
Okay.
And there was a husband that has 4 kids got killed because this man was just randomly shooting into traffic. He was walking and shooting, unloaded the clip, put another clip in, kept on shooting at cars.
And nobody took him down. And probably everybody had a gun.
I'm pretty sure that after somebody said something, the police probably took him down, but the video is just him walking and just shooting. So my question was, what caused him to be that mad to where he's just shooting at everybody?
Yes.
You know, what
about the man that shot the 7 policemen? Yes, was it yesterday?
Mm-hmm.
He shot 7 police. They came to his, and everyone that came, he shot them.
Yeah. And then there was a cafeteria shooting in Tennessee. A young black man shot 2 boys he was having issues with, killed one, and shot another one. Like,
you said a black man shot 2 boys.
A black student.
A black student.
Black
okay.
student.
Okay.
A black student shot 2 boys he was having problems with, killed one of them in the school cafeteria in Tennessee. So it's like, yeah, I know that there is some cases where there's some bullying and stuff going on, but what drives you to the point to where you get that enraged to where you take a life?
And it doesn't matter.
And it doesn't matter.
That's the real deal. The life doesn't even matter. Mm-hmm. And we got this rage in our country now where everybody, you go to church, this rage in the church. You go home, that may be rage at home, rage in the school, rage in the grocery store, anywhere you go. Mm-hmm. I've gotten so now, I'm looking out anywhere I go now. I just didn't bother about if I went to the grocery store, am I going to be safe in there? Because I didn't expect anybody to come in with a problem and start shooting up everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
When I go to church now, I'm conscious of the doors at the church. I don't get that happen.
You know what?
What?
It's our culture. It's like in Texas, the governor said you can get out the pen and buy a gun tomorrow. So guns are so much a part of our culture, and they're so easy to get. And that
is it our culture? Is it their culture? And we join in.
Just saying it's black. It's American culture.
American
because
culture.
It's so easy to get one, but it ain't no discipline that come with that gun. I had guns in the house when Darrell was kids, teenagers. They didn't know where they were, and when they got old enough, I took them out and showed them how to shoot the guns. And I put the guns back up. They still didn't know.
I still don't know to this day
where the guns were kept.
But we knew where the guns were in our house. My dad showed us the gun. And he had some crazy old guns. I said, that gun gonna shoot him.
Well, I knew what kind of kids I had.
Okay.
They were outrageous. I didn't want to get shot for whooping one of them rascals.
My dad, he had the fear of God in my brother so much that they wouldn't touch it. If he said don't touch it, he could leave it there forever and it wouldn't be touched. But they had guns, but it wasn't a big deal. But now you can't even have a gun because a little kid will take a gun out. And now you can't even show them cartoons. You know, I never thought about the cartoons where you shot his head off and his head grew back immediately and he got on the run. Mm-hmm. That didn't bother me.
Yeah.
But it bothers me today because a little kid sees that, then he thinks that he can get a gun and shoot somebody in the head, it's gonna come back
Right.
or whatever. And he doesn't understand, which causes him to go into an emotional imbalance the rest of his whole life. And then what we got? We got so much going on then.
Absolutely.
It's just, it's really scary when you really think about it. It's extremely scary. It's extremely scary to have someone to say that I'm going to take your whole livelihood.
And you know what? It's those interpersonal skills not being developed.
Yes.
And people can't cope with stress, anxiety, frustration, and they get rage becomes a part of it. They ready to cuss anybody out. Maybe I couldn't cuss the teacher out or get to this person, but I can get to you.
But I can get to you.
So that's how a lot of victims are created, because the perpetrator needed an outlet and they didn't have a way of getting an outlet. And I think a lot of time rage is stored up. So, and if you don't have a way to get rid of that rage, like a lot of guys work out, box, and do different things to get that testosterone level down. Because when that testosterone level up, hey, you'll fight anybody, and it creates a situation. Whereas if they don't have an outlet, once that rage hits the meter, tops out, or you gonna be a part of that outlet, or you become the outlet, or you at the end of that outlet. Like you in the school system where the kids get bullied. A lot of kids has been doing the shooting in the schools that ain't shooting individuals. They've been bullied. They just finally nobody know when they had enough. Right. Mm-hmm. And so all that held up rage comes out at the same time. As an adult, I always said this, and my wife used to tell me some stuff that, see, you said this to that person, guys, I don't really argue with women. Mm-hmm. And I say, well, I've always been like this. I'm not going to store that. You say something, throw it out to me, I'm going to immediately respond. Because I don't want to hold that. To me, I say something back to you. I don't want to hold that, because if I hold it too long, I'm one of them, I stay up all night trying to figure out how to get back at you. And I know that. Was that your used to be behavior? That's since I was saved. God had, since I was saved, you act like people don't do nothing to save folks. Yeah, they really mess with saved people. Pastoring. That's and what I had to learn. And I'm gonna tell you this, and I'm proud to say this. Since I've been pastoring, not here recently, but there was a period where I went to anger management. Yeah, I actually went to anger management, and I didn't tell nobody, but I just said, you know what, I'm getting PO'd too quick. Mm-hmm. There's something going on, and I don't want the issues that I'm dealing with to affect somebody else, and I'm blowing up too quick, and blah blah blah. So I actually went to anger management. Did it help? It absolutely did help. Yes.
So can I ask this question though? Like for our culture, when I say our culture, I'm talking about our ethnicity. Okay. Why we don't ever go seek professional help? Because a lot of times I think we'll be viewed as something was wrong with us, or people will look at us like it's you got something going on with you. And, I really think that people to address this rage and stuff, it has to deal with some type of trauma that happened in your life. It did. And as a child, mm-hmm. mostly. And the reason we don't is because we have been programmed mm-hmm. that if you go talk to a psychologist, you talk to a counselor, you're crazy. Mm-hmm.
Now here's a comment.
They don't want it.
Mm-hmm. That was me in junior high and high school dealing with racism and bullying along with violence. I had 3 fights every day before school. The same thing was happening at church. But this ain't church. It ain't easy, bro.
But we can. And I was going to bring that in because we see these behaviors at church. But why isn't the church really addressing stress? Why don't we have things that particularly we want to come in and we want to shout, Jesus is good and go bum bum. But there are some things that we got to deal with first so that we can get to Jesus.
Can I submit this, that some churches may not be equipped to minister to people.
But they ought to get somebody and find out. And most of the majority of the time, there are people in the audience, but you're so good in having your own power that you won't even look out in the audience and let somebody else who can handle that. Yeah. I've seen it done. I've been in the midst a lot of times, not just in mine, but in others. And because I used to go all over to everybody's church, and they're so afraid that the influence, that somebody lied and put out that you'll lose your influence if you allow somebody to help you.
You won't.
But you won't. You'll gain more.
Absolutely.
As a black man, we were taught to be strong. And a lot of times we would be hurting and nobody know it. Until the last minute when it all just blow. Well, he showed me go off. I've been hurting and mad for a long time. Yeah. And no outlet. So it was the way we were raised. I know the way I was raised. We baby boomers were raised a little bit different. You didn't get to sit on the couch. You didn't nobody talk. You got to
boys did not cry.
You better not cry. You better not do this and all of that. And so a lot of times you didn't have what they call that group meetings where you could interventions and all of that. And so since I will say this, since I didn't have it, I couldn't teach anybody else that I didn't have. But during the millennials like him, they elevated their intellectual capacity on how to deal with some stuff we kept hid. And it was a secret. What stays in the house, what happens in the house, stays in the house. Even in the church, even in wherever you are, whatever happens, it stays. You're not able to address it, and which causes so many people to be emotionally imbalanced.
Absolutely.
It causes us to be that way. Just like, when we grew up, that was something just as simple as Cub Scouts. Girl Scouts. They still selling Girl Scout cookies, but I never see where they are advertising to open up a Girl Scout unit. They used to come in the church and get the little girls and Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts and all of this. Do you see that now?
So being the organization I'm with, Girl Scout and Boy Scouts and all that stuff, they're losing funding.
Is that what the problem is?
So it's happening. They losing funding. So when they don't have that funding, they don't have the grants to pay those people to go produce those groups and do that recruitment and stuff. It's crazy because you can just come and just, hey, be a part of this, and be a part of that. But nationally, a lot of their funding has been pulled. Since you brought up that point, what pulled that off the national level when they start letting boys transgender can be Girl Scouts. And it's one way to be born a certain way, but you can't decide I'm going to be a girl, so I should maybe become a Girl Scout. And what happened was they said, if y'all start letting that happen, we go not fund you. Absolutely.
The Boy Scouts start letting girls. They said it's the Boy Scout, not the want to be a boy.
Right.
Yeah.
And so they lost funding because of those. And I ain't mad at them immoral policies.
Absolutely.
When we were children, I remember the little boy on the street, and he twisted down the street one day, and all the boys saw him, and they got after him, and they just kept on messing with him, beating him up, and all that. I'm not saying that was a good thing to do, but they.
That's the best thing to do. He had to twist in the closet. They didn't let you twist out in public. You can't come out of no closet. There's no such thing.
And I think the deterioration of the family structure is we're dealing with the crack epidemic grandkids who, like, the grandparents was on crack, so they had crack babies. Okay. And the crack babies had
crack babies.
And so it's like we're dealing with crack grandbabies. And I'm not trying to be funny, but it's like you start seeing a lot of stuff, like mental stuff, because drugs do affect, pregnancies and stuff like that. And then
Yeah.
you have these babies that's born with certain defects and, in imperfections, and then they don't have the resources to go, like, literally, like, I go back, piggyback to our situation with my youngest son, man. Had we not had the resources, and the school tell us this and go, okay, so we go to his primary care. Yeah, I can see that, but that's one of those things that through time and development and and training, he can function. And then you start doing research, you're like, oh man, there's a lot of people living with that. It's just a lot of folks that's not diagnosed. But you have that other demographic of people who don't have those resources. So what they automatically do, they'll label a kid bad, WISD. When DJ was a pre-K and kindergarten, he bad. He just bad. Now he just going time out. But then when we moved up by a house out here, Midway said, no, he's not bad. He has this going on. He learns different. He's active, and he has to be, busy, and engaged in different stuff. And so when stuff is not addressed, and then you got years passing by,
then you become an older adult carrying that same behavior into what are you doing now?
Absolutely.
They were saying some warning signs of an anger disorder. And that's all rage is an anger disorder. And they said uncontrolled anger is usually the result of poor emotional regulation and can lead to verbal or physical outbursts. Anger outbursts, on the other hand, happen suddenly and may leave the person who experiences them feeling surprise. Anger disorders can have serious consequences if left untreated, and that's basically what we do.
Absolutely.
We, as long as we can put you in a corner. Now we have taken this little thing here, the iPad, and all this, and we have conditioned our children to not act out because I put you in the corner and give you this iPad and let you stay on it all day long or whatever. And that's your function, but the rage is still there. As soon as this rage doesn't have an iPad, it doesn't have a phone, it doesn't have all these things, then it comes out and just emotion just explodes. You know what else they were talking about in rage? And they were talking about post-traumatic stress syndrome.
PTSD.
Yes, that's a form of rage, and we do know that something that has tremendously. I guess you can be scared to death, or you can be hurt to death. It could be something that overpower your total emotions, and then you don't know what to do, and therefore you said it sets dominant until somebody's rings the doorbell on it.
Yeah.
And you come out.
Yeah. And you said something when you was reading that not being able to regulate your emotions.
Yeah.
It's almost like you can't even exercise emotional intelligence because you can't regulate the emotions you feeling. And that PTSD is real because they can't move past that traumatic experience. Even when you try to suppress it, it's still like right there.
It gets crazy and crazy. That's like when you suppress it, you put more dirt on top of dirt.
There's Dr. Francine Francis that says,
what she say?
Pascal Stifton, do you think your anger was to the point of a disaster, which is what Dr. Campbell is what disorder, which is what Dr. Campbell is saying rage is? Rage is a disorder.
Yes, it is.
Well, the way I would answer that, it was a lot that led up to that situation. It was a build up to that. It wasn't because I never did experience rage like I was then. It's a lot of things, planets were aligning, a lot of things happening in my life that had me about ready to do some things. And then it's like this was about 10, 11 years ago when I went to anger management as a pastor. Because a lot of times, as we church folk, we pastor, you can't say what you really want to say.
No.
And then all of this stuff started adding up. You got stress, you got all of this. And I didn't want to be on the attack mode all the time. So I said, I'm going to seek professional help.
Yeah.
Because you can have rage like the man in the Bible that was demon possessed that had legions. That was a different type of rage.
But that was a rage, though.
That was a rage caused by a demonic influence. But like all of us get to a point where you like Popeye, I done had about all I can take, and I can't take no more.
You turn to Deion Sanders. I always take the high road, but this time I lost the address.
That's a good one.
I forgot the address this time.
That's a real good one. That's a good one there.
But I will say this, that I'm man enough to confess after the fact that I saw help. And it did help me. And what I learned by going to the anger managements is how to deal with those triggers.
Yes,
Certain
because there
things
are
trigger.
triggers.
Certain things and certain people hit that trigger.
Man.
And so I had to learn how to protect myself from myself, because a lot of times we all work ministry. We have to be superhuman. We have to act like don't nothing bother us. But at some point, it does.
It has to.
And you have to deal with it.
I remember, and I thank her so much today, and that's First Lady Joyce Stimson. After I came over and started helping with the district, and we were just having a good time, everybody laughing and talking, she said, I'm going somewhere Saturday. You want to go with me? And normally I hadn't been coming out the house that much, going with people.
Mm-hmm.
I'd just been suppressed, just all that. And she said, I said, where you going? She said, I'm going to take you somewhere. And I said, oh, let's go. Then I asked her where we were going. She said, we're going to the Rage House. I said, what? The Rage. So I guess, I don't know if it was the store or was it
That's
the
actually
house.
Rage Room.
The Rage Room, that's what. The Rage Room. And so we got over there, and I didn't know what we were going to do. She told me how to dress. So I dressed like she said dress. And I put on all this stuff after I got there too. And so they put us in this big room. And we stayed in there together. It was another lady. I think it was
My daughter-in-law.
Your daughter-in-law. She's a real nice, sweet lady. And so she was in there with, and so the man said, what do y'all want? So she want everything. So she knew, everything. Put it all in there. They put in there, gave us some bats.
Yeah.
And then I said, what we gonna do? She said, we're gonna break these break them up. I'm still in the dark. Don't know what we're gonna do. Just kind of like, okay, we're going with it. But I got the beating on those things. I didn't know.
You had that much rage?
I didn't know. I put a glass up there and called somebody's name. Pow! Like that. It was just not as item to break.
Yeah.
Do you know we broke them all? And then we went and beat on the floor. We just went crazy in that room. And when we came out, I said, wow.
It healed, didn't it?
It healed.
The deal about that situation is my wife kept saying, because my daughter-in-law lost her mother the same time you lost Kay.
Okay.
And she didn't know how to get out. And Joyce said, we going to the Rage Room. And see, it helped you because you're dealing with the K. It helped.
I've been Kay, my dad,
all of
that.
And my daughter-in-law lost her mother. My wife, basically, because she lived with me.
I'm just trying to figure out, Pastor. I don't know if one of those bottles was his head, and we call it. His name may have been called.
See, y'all got.
We got a chance to call people names.
Ladies got rage rooms. Fellas, we got gun ranges.
But you know what?
It's a good place.
It's amazing how somebody came up with that. It's just sometimes little small things have such a major impact. It helped y'all get out.
I want to take a lot of people. I want to invent one. Because we don't understand. And mostly when I see people in leadership positions, people in leadership positions, sometimes they don't know who they can talk to, who they can tell. I definitely I'm going to take my brothers. Everything, all four of them can go to the Rage Room because they don't know. And I see it, and they don't really realize. But those are some of the things that in our churches, we're going to have to start addressing something other than, hallelujah, thank you, Chief. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
My mentor told me some valuable things 8 years ago. He said, man, it's okay to think about yourself in ministry.
Yeah.
He said, because a lot of times we give, we try to fix everybody's situation, then we put ourselves on the back burner. At some point, you got to choose life because you got a wife and kids that's going to depend on you. Something happened to you, the church going to get somebody else.
Immediately. Before you get in the ground.
And then your family going to be the one mourning you and resenting the church because you took my daddy away. You know, and so that made me like, hey, okay, some things I can do, some things I'm not gonna even deal with because the way I'm wired. Like I tell him all the time, y'all know Pastor Simpson, y'all don't know Darrell. Darrell a big fool. So y'all need to recognize that if I'm saying, hey,
stop.
I need a moment.
I need a break.
I need a minute.
Come on.
What was you looking at me waiting on me to say something?
Nah,
I'm too old for you to be asking what you like. I know it'll be silent.
No, because
he might have flashbacks all the whoopings I get.
Nah, start turning the whole flipping table.
You get one with him now. You got to be good, man.
But I had to address that because a lot of stuff. So just give just who I am. I can take a lot of stuff until I get to that boiling point, and then when I get to that boiling point,
you blow up.
And it's just.
But see, you're not supposed to. You're supposed to handle that in the beginning. And we have a tendency. We have been so such hypocrites.
Yes, we have.
Such hypocrites.
Yes, we have.
You upset, but nevertheless, you don't let anybody know you're upset. You prime and proper. You put your stuff together. What's somebody saying to us right quick?
Mine is not up to date. I got the last one we had was Dr. Francis when she was talking about the anger.
And she can call in. I don't know why she act like she's a stranger. We shouldn't even have to ask her.
We should have her sitting over here with us doing this.
We need to patch her in.
Yes, every week. Wow.
She call in instead of typing in.
Do y'all know? I was looking at how common road rage.
Yes.
Road rage is scary to me because I don't know if I should blow my horn when you about to hit me or not. That you're gonna be so angry that you're gonna get out and get your gun out and shoot me or whatever. And road rage is terrible. But do y'all know that Texas is the worst one for road rage and all of this stuff?
We got access to guns.
Absolutely.
Well, everybody does.
No, they don't.
Not on the level of Texas.
Not on the level of Texas.
You can go to a gun show. All you got to do is be able to get in, and you can buy whatever gun you want without a background check, ammunitions, whatever. You can get whatever you want at a gun show. Only in Texas you can do that. It's people come from all over the world come buy guns in Texas.
Just for Texas.
I'm
not sure if I don't want my gun. I'm not sure. I want to learn. I'm saying I want to learn how to shoot and everything, but is that my...
We got a comment. Dr. Francine says rage is an extreme experience. People experiencing rage lose the ability to think past the moment.
That's right.
They do not count up the cost of what happens after them. They make the choices that cannot be. They don't think about collateral damage.
They really don't. And I think that a lot of those people that got in trouble on January the 6th, they weren't thinking about the collateral damage that they could have done. Now, I know there were some that are just hoodlums and all that kind of stuff, and I understand that. But there were some people that got pulled into the moment.
Absolutely. This reminds me of the movie Unhinged. Have y'all seen Unhinged?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's just like that something can happen and all of a sudden it can just drive you in a rage.
It's just, they said that the number of road rage incidents involving a firearm in Texas. Look how far we are. 741 in Texas. The next closest one, 79.
Wow.
That's a lot.
Wow.
Texas, and then we have a governor who I don't understand him yet. Is he, what is he for? What is he going for? Or whatever. Because everything that looked like it's going to hurt somebody, he wants it.
And see, this is a whole, Dr. Campbell, this is a whole different conversation because the way the political platform is setting up, it's not about what's right or wrong. It's about whose side you on.
That's it.
That's it. And that we can eliminate a lot of these road rage issues if we have stricter gun laws.
They don't want them.
They don't want them. You're taking our guns away. Can you imagine how safe it would be if we had everybody can't get one? I mean,
Everybody can't go. And you could imagine the rage that we have going on now. People rage because our president is in the office. You know, that's going to make the real rage.
We got a caller.
all right.
Okay, who we have?
Hello, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, this
Okay.
sounds like somebody I dunked on the basketball court. Is this?
No, I think you totally mistaken. Try again.
How you doing, Brother Reggie?
I
It's your
was saying, that's
brother.
my brother. I knew it.
Why you looking at me like I ain't never dunked on nobody?
You had.
Probably because I ain't.
You talking about my brother? I'm looking at
Don't
you.
go and
Your
rage
sister
by
going into- your sister going into rage. And that's what I'm talking about her brother.
Yeah, I'm glad she is. 'Cause, she got to kind of stand up for me. She know you can't do that on me. You never did it on me. Oh, good.
What's happening, bro?
Everything's going good. Everything's going good. I was trying to get on. I don't know what the subject matter is tonight. Are you on the podcast right now?
Yes.
Yes, we're talking about road rage right now.
Oh, you are.
Yes.
She did mention the fact that
You can go
you
from
went
there.
and spent some time with somebody and you came back with some rage and your mom then finally corrected that.
When he
I
was
have-
a baby.
I have-
Yeah.
I have had my moments of road rage. I will admit that, certainly. So what is the subject matter about in terms of road rage?
We were just talking about in Texas. Texas has the highest road rage incidents involving gunfire. In the United States, Texas has 741 as of today, and the closest one to us is California with 179. And we were
Yeah.
trying to figure out why is it that Texas people are so enraged with rage? What's wrong with them?
Wow, West.
Well, that is true. Wild Wild West. You have more guns. People have more guns in Texas, just about than any other state. And we've always been that way. We're pretty much a gun supported state. And then there are a lot of there's a lot of rage because people have issues that kind of bring on rage. There are different things that cause rage. Of course, y'all know that, and we see it all the time. And it can be a very very dangerous situation. I've been in some things where people run me off the road because I pulled out, maybe not as fast as they wanted me to pull out, and they were speeding up at the same time. And then what happens is they start giving you funny looks and funny waves, if you know what I mean. No?
With the hand.
Funny hand signals, and they want you to know about it. And I almost got run straight off the road. And it's funny. I'm going to tell you this story. Just a week before this, I was driving in Dallas, and this guy started blowing his horn at me, and I kind of lost it. And it was uncharacteristic of me to that point. And we happened to be going the same place. So
Oh, man.
yeah, the road rage got so bad at me. We were going to an auto dealership, and he was already in there. And I came in and just shut the place down almost with my rage because I was ready to fight. And everybody in there just stopped. And I looked around. By the time I looked around, I saw my sons right beside me with their fists all drawn up. And had I hit this guy, we all would have been in jail. And then it took me about a couple of hours to realize how stupid that might have been, because I hold the title of Bishop Thomas. I could see handwriting on the news that Bishop Reginald Thomas from Round Rock, Texas, was arrested for road rage. And that's the only thing that kind of got me to see that it was not necessary to get to a point where you're totally out of control on the road. And the very next week, and I believe this to be true for real, God showed me something. This man tried to run me off the road. And it was the same kind of situation where the rage rose up in me, but I was able to control it because of my past experience, where God had allowed me not to get too far into it. And I thought about it. I said, this probably would have been the time when the man had a gun, and the man could have shot me or anything. Anything could have happened in a situation like that. But I believe that God allowed me to go through that first situation where it was controlled and I couldn't act crazy because I was in the auto dealership, to where I had the next week where God really did literally run me off the road, and okay with it. I didn't respond the way my first impulse told me to. You have to be careful when with impulse. And I always told people this, that in a situation there is stimulus, and then there's response to a stimulus. And when there is anger, you have to broaden your timeline between what stimulates the anger and your response to that anger. So if you broaden your timeline, you're able to think more rationally in given situations.
I have a question. This
Yes,
is everyone. Do you think anger is something that comes upon you, or is it something you have to think about to get angry?
It depends on where the seed is.
I think both. I think it can come up on you, and then it could be initiated by a certain stimulant.
Mm-hmm.
See, my deal with anger management, when I went about 10 years ago, I felt it was very necessary for me to do that. Because one thing about me, I can't fight no more. I can't take punches. So, I can't even stand up in the paint. I can't, I don't have that left hook, right hook stuff. And I say, y'all laughing. So I had to take anger management to watch what I'm saying, because one thing that I do, I carry guns.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have guns on me all
much.
the time. I got guns.
Yeah.
So I say, no, I don't want this to get out of hand, because if you touch me, I don't know if I will.
That's the first stimulus. That's the first thing you're gonna look for.
Yeah, so
It's what you got on you.
I avoid that, because I'm gonna tell you about rage. I grew up in the hood, real hood, Oak Cliff area, Sock, all of that. Grew up where I had to fight twice a week. Every day is every week. You had bullies everywhere. I'm gonna take give me that jacket. I mean, really, I like what size tennis shoes in. Real bullying and all of that. And so we had to learn how to fight. And everybody had one weapon you were allowed to have. That was the Afro rake. And every classroom I was in, there was always 45 people in there. It wasn't no little old small classes. So
No.
The thing about it, when we fought, you fought to win.
Yeah.
It's a different day and time. When we fought, it's like, I'm gonna try to beat you down, so you think about this before you ever attack me again. And I've gotten beat like that, so I didn't mess with certain folk. But it's the way you deal with that after you done lost that fight. Are you going to try to get even? Or you just go say, well, I get you next time? And so a lot of times, compared to today, then when we were growing up, if me and Darrell get in a fight at school, as long as we both boxing, but if one get the other one down on the ground where he getting all face shots, they say, that's enough, that's enough, that's enough. But now, they take that phone out and watch you get beat to death.
Yes, they will.
It's like,
Yes, they will.
Or they'll take their phone out, and then the person that get beat, they gonna try to catch you and try to kill you.
Exactly.
There we go.
Exactly.
And
see, you in the high school in education, you see it all the time.
I see it all the time. And see,
Thirdly,
the problem is that now we breeding a generation that's so confrontational.
Yes, we do.
Just confrontational. Like they looking for confrontation any kind of way because they walk around mad and angry. So like,
and no respect is there.
No respect.
They have nobody they respect to the highest that they will not confront.
I was complimenting a young man on his shoes because we had the same shoes. Mm-hmm. I said, "Boy, what size shoes are them?" He said, "My size, nigga." That's what he told me. I said, "Hey man, I'm just giving you a compliment, mess with you. Look, I got the same. Oh, okay." But it's like
he was ready.
He was like ready, like I wanted to take his shoes, and I'm like, "No, man, I ain't." But you start seeing like these kids are the way they live. It's like they're so confrontational because they got parents. We had a parent come up. I can't say the parent name. We had a parent come up here to the school. We was trying to deal with the kids' behavior for cussing out a teacher. The mama come up there cussing out everybody. Reverend Stimson, excuse me, but I'm not talking to you, Reverend Stimson. I'm talking to them. Listen, babe, please, you can't do this. You can't
do that.
And then you call me Reverend Stimson. They gonna be looking at me like, you know her, and you let her get, it's just
if they call you Reverend Stimson, like you don't have human emotions and feelings.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
It's gonna bother you. You cussing all of us out at this point.
Yeah.
Let me ask y'all this, especially you since you tied into the school system today with all the confrontations. How do y'all deal with that? What are some of the ways to lower the temperature?
So the thing we do, what's been helping us is that if you fight, we get you out of the alternative school. They get us like 30, 40 days of relief. But what's happening is we got so many kids that's connected to gangs. Mm-hmm. And so if the beef start on Instagram or something like that, they choose to come to school to fight because school is a controlled environment. You're not going to get shot in school. You're not going to get killed in school. Mm-hmm. And so they know if we fight in school, hey, we can go and get our licks off and then they'll break us up. Then it can be over with versus fighting outside of school on the street where anything go. How we deal with it now is we start identifying those kids that just walk. We say they just walking laps. They ain't going to class. They just walking laps. So the ones that's walking laps, since you don't want to be here, we put you in night school. You go to school from 5 o'clock to 9 o'clock, get you away from general population. Because the problem is that you will mess up your whole school culture behind 20, 30 kids. And them 20, 30 kids don't want to be at school anyway. Their parents are not involved in their education. And so one thing that I love about what our principal is doing now is, so lunch is over at 1:30. You got to be in class at Tardy Bells at 1:35. Mm-hmm. He'll get on that announcement at 1:44. He'll get on the radio. Hey, if they ain't in their class by 1:45, push them outside the rest of the day. They got to wait on the bus. They wait on the bus outside. But they're not going to be walking around here doing it. No, we want this to be a learning environment. And if you don't want to learn, get all their ID number, call all their parents, let them know they suspended the rest of the day, and they can come pick them up or they can wait on the bus or whatnot. We're not going to have that, And so
you're not responsible for putting them outside that door. What if something happens to them while they're outside? What if they get in a fight outside and tear up and kill each other out there?
So we got police officers for that.
Outside.
We got So what we do, those students, we get their information before we have. You say a line of students. You already know. All right, call your mom. Call your daddy. Let them know why you getting suspended the rest of the day. You got to wait on the bus. Wait on the bus right here in the camera there. You just sit out there. And it's just one of those things.
Even if it's cold.
Even if it's
well, let me ask you
about that. You go to class.
Yes, you will.
let me ask this, Bishop Reginald and Pastor Darrell and Supervisor Thomas.
Francine.
And First Lady Francine. Okay, in the church paradigm where we have people mad at the world and come to church with that rage and come to church with a chip on their shoulder and expect us to just continue to smile and love on them when they really come confrontational, trying to provoke
disrupt,
something,
yes.
to be disrespectful and disrupt. Have y'all had to deal with somebody at church? Can you identify a situation without naming the folk?
I've dealt with that issue where they come, try to be confrontational when they have a crowd. But then when you corner them off one-on-one, individual, that energy change.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when you start kind of trying to figure out like what's really going on.
Mm-hmm.
Like, well, I didn't like this, I didn't like that, but there's a way to address it. You don't address it like that,
Mm-hmm.
We don't come in your house
They take over your house.
moving furniture and it's one of those things where it's I think number one, the enemy has gotten that person's mind for them to be disruptive, number one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And number two, people think that because you in church, you can't get checked.
That's right. That's right.
So
But not in these churches. Not they haven't been in these churches lately.
What about you, Bishop?
Well, I try to my very best to create an atmosphere that ushers in the Spirit of God as quickly as possible. I know that anytime you come to church, you're in a battle. You're in a spiritual battle, and someone's going to win it and someone's going to lose it. And so, yes, the devil will send people to church that have issues, but if you have a strong person that's doing your prayer and a strong person that's ushering in the Spirit of the Lord, then you're gonna be in front of the problem and the issues. People will come in, but the dominant spirit is going to rule, and we have the dominant spirit, and so all we have to do is usher in the right spirit. And the peace of God, the Bible says, that passes all understanding, will still
He's being biblically correct.
Hey, Bishop, I love your answer.
That was very good. But
I love it. But I got some folks in my church that I got to make sure they got hands. we have the spirit of prayer and all that, but they got to have the spirit of hands just in case I can't get them.
Dr. Francine said a person who would disrespect the purpose of church must have to be addressed on a case-by-case basis. It depends. Now, I'm telling you two stories with me, and y'all tell me that I handle this right. Y'all know where I started at church.
Yeah, we do.
Y'all know it was a big old sign in front of church.
I already know.
This sign in front of church saying you enter in a high drug activity area, you can be searched at any time. Well, I was so proud of little crack house church and my little crack members that was coming, and I finally had some guests on a Friday night. And so I was like, oh man, I got some guests. And I'm preaching, and then one of them started acting up. And I say, man, you need to chill out. So he was scaring the family that was there. Mm-hmm. And then I started preaching. He said something a second time. And I said, come on now, man. I say, don't do that. Don't say nothing else like that. So he's all right, my bad. So he waited till I got get into what I was saying. And then I went down and I said, come on, you got to go. I ain't never been hit in my face 5 times in my whole life. That crackhead went into the Matrix. I ain't never I'm like, but he hit me in the wrong place, he upside the head. You didn't hear? I mean, he hit me 5 times.
Before you thought about it?
I mean, it's pop, tell my one other pop. But the first time he hit me, he committed to both of us. Cause when you hit me, I ain't finna pray for you. So,
wait, so we want this on?
This life experience
This is real.
Y'all got right wrong. Cause I don't feel like you should disrespect God's house anything.
That's right.
You disrespect the church. It's a little ragged place, but after he hit me them 5 times, when I finally got him down on that ground. Wait.
How did you get him on the ground? You hit him?
Tussle.
Hey.
Me and the devil.
I'm outrageous.
I had a tussle, but I won.
I didn't Yeah.
That sounds like
I
a
said,
road
"Now."
rage to me. That sounds like a rage
I
to me.
said, now I can't fight. That was 32 years ago. I could fight then. And I beat him. I was beating him to the people walking on the streets. Let him up, rail. Let him up, rail. Let him up, rail. And I went back up.
How you get in my side? You drug in my side?
It wasn't like we was at Pentecostal. Hey, you take 2 bunny hops, you outside the church.
Oh, okay.
So once I had him on the ground, I'm just boom, 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 boom. And so I went on back in there, it started back teaching, and this lady say, hold up for a minute. And she gave me a handkerchief. My lip had blood on it and all of that. But I would only finish Bible class.
So the question was, did you handle that right?
Did you handle it right?
I'm asking y'all.
So
because I'll do it again if I
so
I would tell you there is another way. Based on my experience, I do know that's a good way to handle it. But there is another way. I'm going to tell you my experience now. I was with a group called the Messengers of Jesus Christ. It's about 7 ministers. And we were at Bishop Liddell Thomas Sr.'s church in
Don't be putting my dad on blast. He's not here. Defend himself.
Just listen to me.
we just gonna call him Reginald Thomas.
Just listen
Bishop
to what,
Reginald.
just listen to what I'm saying. There was a person that came in church. We thought we had locked the doors because we were having a private situation. There's a person came in the church and just started walking around, and we were singing, and we all started looking at this person, and the person says, is the priest here? Is the priest of this house here anywhere? We said, no, he's not here. Can we help you? And she says, I'm looking for the priest of this house. I don't want you little old young guys can't help me. Ain't nothing y'all can do for me. And we kept saying, well, he's not here. And she started cursing. And she started cursing quite a bit. And really belittling the church, the leader of the church, and everything else. And so some of us got angry. But one brother said, just start pleading the blood of Jesus. Just start saying that. And it's amazing thing that happened in that situation. This person voice changed to where it was demonic. I mean, all the way to a man's voice. And it got really, really, really difficult. First fear came in, anger, and then all of a sudden trust and belief in God. And we all 7 started saying the blood of Jesus, the blood of Jesus. And that person went from a low voice to a real high voice. Said, y'all, please don't say that name again. I realize that he has some power, but don't say that. And then we kept saying the blood of Jesus. And then this person said, where was Jesus when my daughter died, committed suicide? I'm walking around here. She said, I'm walking around here getting ready to commit suicide myself because I don't have my daughter anymore. And I saw this church and I just came over here to see if I could get this priest to talk me out of it. But I'm getting ready to kill myself. Where was God when I needed him the most? We kept calling the blood of Jesus. And I'm telling you, that person went from demonic to a natural person to at the end of the night, that person got saved. And it blew all of our minds because we didn't see that ending happening. We thought we were going to have to throw this lady out, call the police. But at the end of the night, we saved her life. She didn't commit suicide, and she got saved.
Well, you're not gonna make me feel bad because you didn't get hit 5 times.
Well, okay. So I've had years to think about this and ponder this. Pop, I have years. I mean, I'd heard the story over and over, and now I'm glad that you can't throw them hands like you used to. I'm gonna say you should have handled that different. You was in the wrong. And the reason why you shouldn't have had church on Friday night anyway. That would have never happened if you didn't have church on Friday.
Because that was a game night.
Dr. Francine said somebody in the church should have a weapon in the day and time we live in. They can people
That's true.
carry who can pray with their eyes up. Okay, here's the situation I want to say. I'm in the hood. I got some real protected men at my church. I got guy bigger than two guys bigger than BJ. Big old dudes and they come to church. They come to church on Sunday. And if something go down, you call them. And I said this. I say, everybody in the church can't be saved at the same time. Everybody in the church can't be, can I finish it? Everybody can't be saved at the same time because sometimes somebody gonna have to do some unsaved things to folks that come in. And one of the guys, this biggest giant at the church, I asked him, he's been with me forever. And I say, you've been with me forever, man. I'd like to find something for you to do, blah, blah. He said, I don't want to be no deacon. I don't want to do nothing. I said, well, I got to find something. He said, I feel like my job is to protect the people.
Okay.
And he said, I feel like that's my job. So we got that second foyer in the church, and I'm up preaching, and we had a little love seat there. One of them love seats you don't know what to do with it, so you take it to church.
Yeah.
And this man and this woman came in there, and they sit in that love seat. And he happened to be an usher, and I text him, everybody, I can see everything. So I text him, and I just look at the door. He went back there and saw him sitting, and he started talking to him. My wife caught it in her periphery, and she went out there, and I'm like trying to preach and saying, why is she out there? We got somebody in there. And so next thing I know, he had his hands on Joyce, on my wife, and he kind of opened that door and just had gone back in there.
Which one? Your man? The usher pushed your wife back in
I
church.
didn't say push my wife. He led her back in church. He led her back in church.
Okay,
I mean, he's a giant. So,
okay. So it looked like.
He just gone, let me have it. So next thing I know, he had both them people in one hand, and they went outside the church, and he stayed out there long enough. So I said, something really going on down there, but I trust him. He said his job to protect the people. And so after church, he came up and he said, they came back here. They was out of order. I told them they can't sit there. They have to come inside in church. And he said, and would you please tell First Lady to stay up there? We got this. He says, First Lady trying to reason with them when they was unreasonable. So I did have to I said, you do what you have to do. That's your ministry. And I say, don't even tell me what you did when you got outside. He said, well, I'll tell you what, I don't think they'll ever come back to this church. So you need somebody to have it. Now he'll eventually get saved, feel Holy Ghost, and it'll be somebody else turning
to do that, huh?
His big sons.
Yeah.
His giant sons.
And Dr. Francis is right.
Let me ask a question.
Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
How do you determine who is the right person to make the proper judgment in terms of rage? There is verbal rage. There is gestural rage.
Physical.
That's one rage. There's mild rage, where the person is kind of getting aggressive toward maybe children in your church, or the usher won't listen to the usher. Then there's severe rage, where the person basically appeared to be a little bit more dangerous. They may have come in with a stick, or they are threatening to pull a knife. and then there's physical rage where you actually take 5 to the face.
You make a joke out of this, ain't you?
I'm just saying.
It's like they say to see the other guy. He's fast off that concrete by 7 times.
You might have been a little slow. How you gonna take 5 to the face before you get 1 in? Now,
I had to decide if I wanted to go there.
If he was really hitting you, you were shocked that he hit you, weren't you?
Well, I had time to think. Do I want to stay in preacher mode and pray? And what I needed to do, I said, well, I can't just I ain't never had nobody hit me and I not hit back
5 times.
I mean, did it real quick. Y'all ain't never been in no fights.
Okay.
Y'all ain't never had no fights. There's some dudes that can pop.
Oh, I didn't.
Throw this.
I didn't have
But I tell you what, to this day, every time I see him, he apologizes. Cause just for record, I whooped his butt. I beat him down. They had to pull me off of him.
But let me get to my point here.
Now you just quit telling that joke about me. I won that fight. I took 5, he took 50.
Oh my God. Okay, you won the fight.
Oh my
You
God.
bring that up. That's your brother. That's one of them Thomas boys. You know they got rage.
We're not gonna take 5 to the face before we make a decision.
No,
not
they're
a
not
Thomas.
gonna do that.
Not one Thomas that I know will take 5 to the face before they make a decision.
Not even the girls.
Hey,
No.
y'all say that, but somebody just pop back. You can't take 5 to the face before you realize.
I can't.
You walk up on somebody and do that. I know you a Golden Glove boxer and all of that, but I ain't. I'm a scrapper. I tell you what, you fight me. If you fight me now, you better be ready to go 15 rounds.
You just said you couldn't fight. You talking about you can fight.
Well, it all depends. If you hit me in front of my wife or kids,
No, that's a
you
no.
Mike Tyson. You gonna get the Legion.
We are
But
many.
let me get to my point.
Okay, what was your point? Because we got to hear
point
it.
We do it too. Let somebody else talk. You just don't do shots.
If you have a person in your church and you have designated this person to be the enforcer, do you train that person to be the enforcer based on your perceived perception of rage, or do you allow them to make that decision on their own?
We have a police officer that works at the sheriff department now, and he's law enforcement. We have 2 law enforcement officers. They know how to handle those situations. They bonded for all of that. We have Desert Storm soldiers that have actually pulled that trigger. And so certain people in our church, we know who they are.
So you allow them to kind of train the others on what to look for.
Well, every man in our church knows the first job is to protect the women and children of the church. You know, somebody come in there, we gonna get that nipped in the bud ASAP. If we have to hold you down and pray for you. We have a policy. If a man walks in the ladies' room, every man in that church goes stomp a hole in. If a woman goes in the man room or something, and if you mess with a kid, you go get that ambulance call to you. So we just
you're gonna be hurt.
You're gonna be hurt. So we're gonna defend, and we're gonna defend the flock. The shepherd had a rod. They probably hit each other with them rods. It was
aware that people now will come to churches with guns and with the intent to shoot a person. Yeah. That has happened in many churches. You can read up on it.
Oh yeah.
Will come in with the intent to kill the confidence in God, and they have come in just with an intent to just shoot everything in there. How do we prepare as Christians for this next wave of what the Bible says in the last days, perilous times will come? It has everything to do with road rage. I mean, it has everything to do with rage. And rage is not just synonymous to a car. But rage sometimes is synonymous to you being associated with God. A couple of years ago in South Carolina, I think a guy came to the Bible study and was stayed in the Bible
Yeah.
study.
Stayed until the end.
Stayed until the end, and then pulled out the gun and
And
shot
shot
everybody.
out
Shot 9 people.
9 people. Yeah.
After listening to the word, hearing the word, and developing the parishioners' confidence in him, and all of a sudden he pulls a gun and decides this was my intent in the first place.
Well,
Just
what
to-
we have done,
he was
Bishop
a leader.
Reginald, because we got to hurry up and leave. What we have done in our church is that because we know this is something that happens. So when we see somebody, first of all, the people on the door are already tuned in to they don't know this person. There's something different about him, and to be very aware. We have I think everybody that carries a gun in our church right now, they have been trained to use that gun. But what we've done is that if you somebody coming in, we don't know you, the brother in us will go immediately and sit by you, sit behind you, sit on the side of you, or whatever, to let you know that you're not in here, we're not crazy. And because we cannot act as if, okay, we in here because God is coming and ain't nothing gonna happen, because the devil is who he is. He's seeking who he may devour. And where is he gonna come? The judgment's gonna come in the house of God first. So he's gonna come in there to destroy. So we always got somebody ready. I used to laugh at him all the time and call him Boniface and tell my pastor, you got all these Boniface running around here. And one of them told me, he said, I'm not Bonnie, I'm Andy. And we've been laughing about that. But at this day and time, we need not come and act like we're ignorant of Satan's devices. We must be prepared. So therefore, like Dr. Francis said, we got to have somebody in the church that's armed enough to take care of whatever needs to be done. Because just because it has not happened in Waco yet, that we know of, it doesn't mean that it's not on its way. But we as saints got to be ready to get anything. You got to go to your churches. And we had an incident where we had a big meeting where they came in and told us what to do. And we have to know what exits to take, what to do. When somebody come in, you got to have signs and words or something, so everybody knows to hit the ground. No matter what. And I guarantee you, it's something that came to our church a few years ago. It was an animal came out of the ceiling. He just jumped out, and everybody that was in there could walk. If they walked in there, had walking, they walked out of there really walking and running. So anything can scare you and get you all your adrenaline up, and that's what they were talking about, rage. And what we're talking about, there are different types of rage, and rage come from little children. They can come from little ones all the way up, and sometimes it appears that it's over with and that you've gotten over it and everything. But sometimes rage comes back because some little thing that you may remember and it will tick it off. And so you have to be ready, and we have to be willing in our churches to use the facilities that we have available to us, which means that we can't always come and shout and jump, but we need to come and teach them some skills and some other things to do, how to handle the rage that's inside of you, how to know that it's there, and to accept that it's there, and then do something about it. Don't ignore it, because we have a tendency to just ignore. Oh, they were just having a bad. That's no bad moment. That's something that's going on inside of them that we need to really think about. Okay, Reverend.
Well, all I know is if you run in our church with a gun, it better not be your first time, because we're going to light you up like it's the 4th of July.
Stop. You Simpson.
I got guns.
We already know what Bishop Reginald Thomas never go plead the blood of Jesus. And let me ask y'all,
They're going to see them 5.56 this week.
let me ask y'all this. Let me ask you this, and this is vindication.
Okay.
This is vindication, or what they're gonna call it.
Okay.
Peter, did he bite that man ear off?
Nah.
Yes, he did.
No, he didn't bite.
No, he did. He didn't bite that in. No, he
Cut
did.
it. Yeah.
He cut it off.
But he was with Jesus all the time.
Yeah, but that ear was gone.
But wait a minute, he was with Jesus all the time. He was
Yeah.
packing with Jesus.
And he was a rage. And he had rage.
And rage.
He had rage.
Well, you say you call it rage. It was defending Jesus. Because he didn't want Jesus to get arrested. It wasn't no rage. He sliced the man ear out. So he was packing with Jesus every day. He was still packing.
A knife.
Somebody got to be
sword.
watching.
Well, that was like a gun to them, wasn't it?
Yeah, sword. Okay.
Somebody got to have their eyes open while we praying and praising. So
He said, watch and pray.
yeah, watch and pray. You
Yeah.
watch, I pray.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be on Facebook telling our security secrets, but it's certain places.
Strategically planted. Yeah.
It's certain places.
We are too.
And I can stand behind that pulpit and hit that clock in the wall 7 times if I shoot it. So if you get too close, you know.
And I am my father's son.
I can put a cross across your chest.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I can put a cross, send a mask across your
we're going to
torso.
close out the night of rage because
Don't y'all dare come to 1208 Rose Street with that. With
rage.
that crap.
Don't you come to 83, 87 South
Let
3rd
me-
Street
let me,
Road.
You were happy with that rage.
What are you saying, Bishop
Let me
Reggie?
make some suggestions here, if y'all don't mind. One of the things that I'm thankful that the educators have done is that they've began to train the kids about rage and what happens if a person comes into school with a gun. They have drills, just like they have fire drills.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that it behooves us as ministers not only to plead the blood of Jesus, but also to have drills where we will know exactly what we're going to do in a given situation like that. I think it's good training to know that if a person does come in, if you got a rifleman like Pastor here, you probably good. But all churches don't look and appear to even think that something like this will happen. But in this day and time, in this season, where men are just, they're just crazy right now. And then I believe that the next 4 years is going to be a whole lot of things that we never thought that would happen. It's going to happen in a lot of different places. You just have to be ready. And you have to, you have to train your people to be able to handle any given situation. Just like they do in schools. They are doing that. The kids in the church is probably and the parishioners, and that's a sad commentary, but it's something that we sometime in our churches, these deep discussions like this about rage.
That's great.
That's great.
That's great.
Fantastic.
So we let the professionals.
Yes, sir.
And with our church insurance company, before they even renewed our premium, they had to make sure that we had evacuation visible in our church and stuff like that. So, and so we had when we first got it together, we did a little simulated drill in a sense, and then of course we had people from the outside use their spare time. We initially when that first shooting happened in South Carolina, we paid a sheriff to park his car on our parking lot. They charge you $150 an hour, but we said we just need you there for an hour. Just be there for an hour so it could deter anybody that's thinking like, hey, they got somebody. The sheriff is right there. Sometimes you have to make those sacrifices and those adjustments just to have a peace of mind for your parishioners. So we did that for a little bit, and then after that, we have strategic places where the pistols are, and we don't, and you don't know where they are, but they're there. So
that's good.
I got pepper spray in my pulpit.
I wish I could say that I don't have pepper spray in mine.
Well, I got that, so I have options. But I hope that my
But they
eyes
got to
can
get
be,
close to you though.
I can get 18 feet.
Oh, really?
That pepper
Okay.
spray.
I got oil and a 40 cal.
Well, I'm hungry. My wife cooked chicken.
All right. Okay. He said your wife cooked chicken. Man, we all go with him. We're so glad to have you to
I'm laughed at me. Come he ain't never got hit 5 times, but we got
hope
Every
you have
day,
enjoyed
too.
the
You know,
conversation. We hope you have enjoyed this conversation tonight about rage. And we have enjoyed having Pastor D here and Pastor C here, and Bishop Regina, Sister Corners, and also Dr. Francis here. And we're so glad. These are the conversations that we must have. There are a lot of different things. And next week, we're going to take all this and put it together. We're going to talk about the types of abuse. You'll be surprised at what abuse is.
Wow.
Because sometimes we don't think it is abuse, but it is abuse. And where does it happen? Everywhere.
Oh, Lord.
From the church on down to your house, your schools, everywhere. So tune in next week. We'll never know who's going to be our guest. I hope Brother D come back, and Bishop Redden, we're going to add some more people when we're talking about abuse, the types of abuse. Come in and let's have a good time. Until next time, let's talk with Dr. J. See you soon.